The University of Maryland is still facing 2 lawsuits from Greek life organizations. They say their rights were violated during a hazing investigation.
Attorneys for the chapters now say the alleged constitutional overreach was all for nothing. WMER2 News' Elizabeth Worthington has been following this from the very beginning, and she joins us now with an update on the case tonight. Elizabeth?
Yeah, Kelly and Jamie, this all started back in March, seems like a while ago, when the university suspended most Greek life activity on campus indefinitely over hazing allegations. Then after a 2-week investigation and a lawsuit from multiple frats, the suspension was lifted for all but 5 of them. But the attorneys say the damage was already done, and they want to make sure this never happens again. Fraternities at the University of Maryland are fighting for their First Amendment rights. At the center of the debate, how much can a public university restrict its students in order to protect them?
My firm's been in this area for about 40 years, and we generally agree the collective set of actions that they took is the most egregious that we've seen anywhere around the country.
Let's go back to February. School administrators gathered chapter leaders from all the IFC frats on campus. The Office of Student Conduct had received an anonymous email outlining hazing allegations against multiple unidentified fraternities. The emailer said pledges were being beaten, burned with cigarettes and torches, forced to lay on nails, and consume urine and live fish. At this February meeting, frat leaders were warned that further allegations would lead to a pause on new member activities. The next day, a parent contacted the school to report hazing, and 2 sorority pledges were taken to the hospital for alcohol consumption. The school issued a cease and desist order and a no contact order for new members. All new member activities were halted, and members couldn't talk to pledges about anything related to Greek life.
The single most disfavored thing in First Amendment law is to prevent speech from occurring before it even happens. And that's what they did for 2 weeks. And that is so beyond how universities typically behave.
UMD hired an outside consulting firm to conduct interviews with about 150 students. 4 frats sued, saying the blanket suspension and no contact order violated their free speech and free association, and they weren't afforded due process. Soon after, the school lifted the suspension for all but 5 frats. Representatives confirm 3 of those 5 have since been cleared of wrongdoing.
My understanding is that the initial allegations that were part of the rumors we're not hearing any of those regarding the 5 groups that are continuing under suspension and being investigated.
At this point, they put all these students through this, thousands and thousands of students through all of this, and punished them for multiple weeks, wouldn't let them do activities, wouldn't let them speak to people, put them through these interrogations. All for nothing.
A number of fraternity and sorority members are still suing the school. They want to prevent something like this from happening again, here or at any university.
There's nothing to say Maryland won't do this again next week if some person who doesn't like fraternities calls up an anonymous complaint from 5 states away.
The university says the blanket suspension was necessary because administrators didn't know which chapters were facing the accusations, so they just shut them all down while they investigated. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown also weighed in a federal court filing saying the university was justified in its actions in order to protect the safety of its students. He also made a good point that the university could have been liable if it knew about hazing allegations, did nothing, and then something bad happened later.
So we hadn't heard about this for a while, so what happens next?
Yeah, I think a lot of us forgot about this, especially with the bridge collapse. Obviously, we've all been busy, but the university originally had a deadline of this Friday to respond to the lawsuit. They filed an extension. They got it. Now they have until June 17th to respond. And then as for when the judge will decide, who knows? It could be anything. But this will definitely set a precedent for universities all over the country.
All right, Elizabeth Worthington, thanks for that report.